Welcome all to our second workshop of today, Building Shared Governance Models for Interdisciplinary Discovery. I already shared in Teams chat the workshop document with the overview and a mirror board. But this time, mirror board will be as a second screen. We will not work there directly. So please have a seat, and then, yeah, we'd like to start. So for this workshop, I have to say that it should be Suzanne here with us today, like our main contributor and also a team member. But unfortunately, she's not here with us. But I hope we will have recording of this workshop. So today we're facilitating this together with Julien. And Julien, I think you were already introduced, but given that some workshop participants could change online, I suggest giving you a floor for introduction, and then we can start.
You mean? Okay, I am Julien Homo. I am data architect from Foxcub, which is a French company based in Paris. I am the technical coordinator of LUMEN on Graphia. That's why I am really available for you during these 3 days to share with you all the synergies we could identify together. I'm also involved in different tasks. And for our topic today about the Lumen governance workshop, I'm fully involved in the definition of the Lumen data mesh with some very interesting dependencies with the governance layer included in this framework. So I will share with you more details in a few minutes.
Thanks a lot. And I'm Elena Sokolova. I work for Operas, and I will be a future task lead for Lumen governance model. That's why we have a combination with Julien today, like both tech and organizational side. And let me quickly introduce the workshop, and then I will give the floor to Julien for more substantial deep dive into Lumen and Lumen data mesh framework. So give me 5 minutes, and then I'll give you the floor. Thanks. Purpose of this workshop is actually to start and then continue, to start offline discussion, but actually continue the governance engagement process in Lumen. The official start of the task will be in 1 year, next summer, but it is important that we could start those discussion earlier, and we could agree what do we mean by governance altogether, what kind of needs and motivations do we have in different communities. And so we thought that IPL would be a great occasion to start doing so. So we'd like to offer an accessible entry point for project and internal stakeholders, invite first reflections on governance and decentralized research context, and then start shaping community roadmap towards federated governance structures. So our agenda for today, like my brief welcome, and then I will give floor to Julien for Lumen project introduction, and it will be different from previous workshop because yes, we want to know more detail and especially details on Lumen data mesh framework. And for us, it's a kind of a toolbox and first approach and like sharing this with this bigger audience. Then I'll quickly cover some platform governance models, and then we will start community discussion. And we have some topics here about understanding governance and practice, sharing needs and motivations, and we also would like to discuss the draft checklist for community engagement and discussion after the workshop. So basically, this is it. And about the working mode, again, we have here on site team and also online team. We don't have any breakouts. We will have open discussion, and then we still have a mirror board, but we suggest using this as a second screen just to put your comments there, especially for those who are online. But also you can provide your comments in Teams, and we will check it and we will read it. And the idea is that you can participate in this open discussion so we can reflect and get different opinions all together. And this is like super important that we'd like to have no pressure setting. Uh, just bringing something from the project which is already fixed and existing, but actually opening the first discussion, alignment, and trust building in relevance of the governance models. So again, about our workshop document with all the links there, I already added this to Teams chat. And actually, that's it. And I'd like to give the floor to Julien. Julien, please.
Okay. So very quickly, we would like to share a quick overview of LUMEN with more details before diving into our topic today. So, LUMEN is an European project designed to build a federated ecosystem that empowers interdisciplinarity, data discovery, and reuse within the EOS ecosystem. So we bring together 20 partners and affiliated entities coming from 10 European countries plus the UK. Altogether, this means around more than 90 people actively involved in this project. The project runs for 36 months from January 2025 to December 2027 with a total budget of 7 million euros. It is coordinated by the CNRS. LUMEN is a federated collaboration of 4 scientific domains with their unique strengths, infrastructures, and also expertise. We have mathematics to solve complex problems. We have also molecular dynamics to simulate matter at the atomic scale, social sciences and humanities to capture the human dimension, and also Earth systems to understand our planet. About the partners, as you can see from the logos, the consortium is both diverse and complementary, ranging from major research infrastructures and universities to specialized data and technology organizations. This diversity is what makes LUMEN strong because it reflects the different communities we aim to connect. About the objective, our ambition in LUMEN is not just to build another platform, but to transform the way communities discover and reuse knowledge. We want to create a shared space where disciplines that usually live in silos can finally connect, at least to be more connected. Instead of searching only within their own domain, we want researchers will be able to discover knowledge across domains in a collaborative environment. We also aim to raise the quality of discovery, not only returning more results, but results that are meaningful, contextualized also, and relevant thanks to new innovative features, as we have already discussed this morning through the different functionalities. A third ambition is to ensure that research outputs are fair by design. That means they are structured, interoperable, reusable from the very beginning, ready to flow seamlessly across communities. And finally, we focus on the early stages of the research lifecycle, where better tools and services can make the difference between isolated outputs and resources that are born connected to the EOSC ecosystem. And just to conclude this quick introduction, LUMEN aims to deliver impact on three complementary fronts. First, by accelerating scientific discovery, not just with disciplines, but across them, enabling researchers to reuse data, models, and knowledge in new and unexpected ways. Second, by fostering collaboration, helping communities align their platforms, ontologies, workflows, and making it easier to work together across projects, languages, scientific cultures. And third, by promoting sustainable and open research through the adoption of fair practices, the visibility of data products, and the long-term integration of semantic services into the EOSC ecosystem. So rather than offering a one-size-fits-all solution, Lumen builds the foundation for a connected, diverse, and resilient research infrastructure, shaped, of course, by the needs from the communities. So that's all for this quick introduction with more details about Lumen. And now I would like to introduce more details about our data mesh through the Lumen project. But just before, I would like to ask you if you have some question about the Lumen project. It is clear for you? Okay. So now let's start with the next presentation. Just 1 second. Okay. So the topic today is to discuss about the governance for the Lumen project. And as you can see, we are talking about a federation of communities. So we have to think about what could be the models we want to use in order to build this governance together. But just before to share with you some existing model for inspiration from GoTripper to other platform, which is the next presentation just after this introduction, I would like to share with you the model already included in our data mesh framework, which is the foundation of our federation from an architecture point of view. So for me, at this moment, it's just to share with you a kind of governance toolbox in order to see how this kind of principles and guidelines provided by the data mesh could help us to find solution or to identify how we can organize our communities and our federations through the Lumen projects. So I will take 10-15 minutes to share with you the content of this toolbox in order to think about it and to have some ideas during this workshop to reuse some part of this toolbox or not, but it's just to open the discussion with some example and how we can build a federation based on a data mesh approach. So very quickly, let's briefly recall the challenge of our data mesh approach. As you can see on the left, many communities today operate in parallel, with already great data, great tools, great services, but we don't have a lot of shared rules. We don't have most common vocabulary or way to align the effort between the communities across from interdisciplinary point of view. So this fragmentation makes interdisciplinary collaboration difficult, slows down innovation, and creates friction for those we want to share and reuse data. This is the challenge. So in Lumen, what we propose to do, it's an alternative. It's to build together a data mesh framework based on federation and shared interoperability and responsibility. At its core, we have, as you can see, the communities, of course, but we have also another layer, the common discovery infrastructure, with all the components and the functionalities we have already discussed this morning, I mean the white label platform, the meta search, the LUMIS, the LUMIS infrastructure, everything related to the tools, the component we want to share together. But as you can see, we have also a third layer at the top, which is a governance layer. This is a governance provided by this paradigm. When you are using a data mesh approach, you have also some tools, guidelines, and principles you can reuse if we want to be able to be federated and to be efficient in this kind of model. So the objective for me is to share with you this toolkit to support alignment and trust across the communities and to have together a closer look at what this governance layer provides. Okay, so what we are proposing through this layer is not a rigid structure. It's a governance toolkit, a kind of flexible set of tools, roles, and practices that communities can adopt and adapt to organize themselves more easily. This layer doesn't aim to impose anything, not at all. It is here to support coordination by offering reusable patterns for how to manage shared responsibilities, how to expose and validate data or services, how to align with others when needed, while still staying in control with autonomy. So on the right, we illustrate how this works in practice. So the communities stay autonomous, but they can use this toolkit to appoint liaison, manage onboarding, structure peer review, and define clear rules. So the idea is to facilitate the collaboration and not to force it. And at the bottom, we recall a few key principles, which are this governance layer is distributed, lightweight, progressive, and above all, driven by interoperability. It doesn't replace existing ways of working, not at all. It just helps make them more compatible. So now I propose to unpack with you this governance layer to see what actually it could provide. So what we are offering through this framework, it's not a centralized rule book, it's a flexible toolbox. And first, we have a decentralized governance model. This means we don't define the rules for the community. It helps just to shape shared policies that emerge from the community and how they can evolve over time. Second, we have a clear structure of distributed roles and collective ownership. So how the communities can take part in decisions that matter to them, validation, alignment, onboarding, etc. Third, we have also a dedicated part to support the contract-based onboarding workflows. Who is sharing what, under which terms, with which responsibilities. It's all captured in simple and YAML-based data contract. This is a very important concept in a data mesh. Fourth, we introduce peer validation cycles. And this is not just about compliance, it is about building trust across domains with shared review mechanisms that combine human oversight and automated checks. And finally, we promote semantic and protocol convergence. This means using shared vocabularies, metadata schemas, and AI scaling protocols to ensure the contribution from the communities can be reused and integrated more easily. So together, these components from this governance toolbox are there to support fairness and interoperability for the federation at scale. So now, to be a little bit more concrete, I would like to share with you some example of each of this component, just to illustrate how we can use them in order to build together this governance. So let's now look at how this governance model become actionable. Through the first component, at its core, we have a shared policy layer. These are a set of common orientation that help communities align and collaborate without losing autonomy. So here, each box represents a concrete policy tools, not mandatory, but available to support coordination. So we define some eligibility criteria to ensure minimum data quality and accessibility. Also data exposure policies to clarify format, openness levels and licenses. Also, we have review and validation rules to organize how contributions are assessed across domains. Onboarding protocols to make the entry path into the federation clear and predictable. Also, versioning and traceability to handle changes and maintain trust over time. And a participation charter to frame shared values and responsibilities. So together, these rules form a lightweight but powerful toolbox to help the community to build the federation. Also, as you can see, we have the data mesh framework provide a simplified interaction model built and adapted for the communities to prescribe how things should work, but to offer a set of reusable tools that communities can activate. I mean, each part of these diagrams correspond to an element of the governance toolkit. Of course, we have the main concept of the data mesh, the data contract, the data source, and the data product. But also, this diagram illustrates how we can work in practice with human coordination. That's why you can find the community liaison here, someone who represents the community's voice, brings in use cases, align practices with others from the community. It can be a researcher, a data steward, for example, or someone playing both roles. Next to them, we have the technical coordinator in order to support the infrastructure side. This role feed into the guild, which is the main shared decision space. It steers evolution, ensure consistency, and manage, across communities. And the whole setup is designed to be lightweight, modular, and community-driven. Again, it's just a model to be reused by the community with already some concrete example of the roles which can be involved in our governance organization. Then the data mesh framework, through this layer, introduce one of the core tools we need in order to share the data product. I mean, the resources from the communities, thanks to this contract-based onboarding workflow. So when a community wants to share a new dataset, for example, a corpus of publication, some author metadata, a new set of software, something like this, some semantic artifacts, they don't just publish it randomly into the mesh, not at all. Instead, they wrap it into a data product, a bundle, with clear scope and structure, and expose it through a data source using a data contract to define the rules. This contract is not at all a legal document. It's a technical and governance declaration, usually written in YAML in the data mesh organization, that includes key information like, for example, which endpoints and format are used, who is the contact person, which licenses and constraints apply, how the product has been fair checked, and how the source and product are linked and maintained. So this formalization doesn't add bureaucracy. It helps automate integration, clarify expectation, and ensure that resources entering the mesh are findable, reliable, and usable by the user through the different communities in order to facilitate the interdisciplinary discovery. Then, to keep a federation trustworthy and interoperable, we have also we need some recurring and shared review cycles. Of course, I won't share with you the details today, but just to illustrate that, we need to adapt some structure process that communities can adopt to check and improve their participation over time. So these are, for example, some periodic eligibility checks, often coordinated by the technical liaison or guides. But yeah, as you can see here, it's not a policing mechanism, it's a collaborative quality loop that promotes mutual support, continuous improvement, and shared responsibilities across the match. We can reuse it again if we want to build together this federation governance approach. And finally, my last example before to conclude is about the semantic and technical convergence. Here, we present key areas of alignment that the governance layer promotes to ensure data and services can plug into broader EOSC ecosystems. First, we support the reuse of standard vocabularies and ontologies. Then we also ensure that metadata profiles are aligned with FLOW principles. On the protocol side, we rely on interoperable API and protocols. Another key point is multilingual metadata support. And finally, everything we propose stays compatible with EOSNOC interoperability frameworks and other pan-European integration effort. So the idea here is not about enforcing one format, not at all. It's about guiding convergence so that local systems remain compatible by design. So this is the last box I would like to share with you today. But as a conclusion for this governance layer provided by the data mesh, it is not centralized. Again, it's coordinated. There is no central authority. Instead, roles and decisions are distributed across communities. It's not about rigid rules, but adaptable agreements. Policies evolve through contract, peer reviews, and shared priorities. It's not about gatekeeping, but enabling. The goal is to support onboarding, not create friction. So what we propose here is not a rigid framework, but this governance toolkit. So in short, a shared governance model and not a constraint, something which could be the enabler that makes decentralized collaboration actually work. So thank you. And that's all for me. Question?
It's a question, comment, challenge, opportunity, none of the above, all of the above. Yeah, okay. Thank you. From what I understand, it's very technical. And if I can be challenging, it's not really governance, because you are not governing, you are enabling the sharing or the and you know that in Graphia, for example, because in Lumen, I don't want to put too much shame on you, but you don't have any legal, ethical work package in Lumen. And we have one in Graphia that is looking at the governance aspect also for the knowledge graph and everything. And what we do is that we are reusing a work that has been done in another initiative that has developed a rule books to define the governance rules that will allow to create the trust. And I was wondering, for example, if there is a possibility to collaborate, if it can be one of the collaboration between the two projects, because you are developing a technical mechanism. There are some governing rules that are in place in order to create trust. Could we try to work together maybe on that? Because I'm not sure how you can, because you said that it's not a constraint, but if your governance is not constrainant, how can you create trust? Because people are not forced to respect it. So this is the question that comes to my mind first, and I see potentially some collaboration or let's say opportunities here to work together on that. So what do you think?
So thank you, Yannick. Yeah, you're right. Again, it's not the final governance for Lumen. It's just again a toolkit to help the team. We will build this governance to find some solution, maybe a little bit technical, but in our data mesh approach, we need to build some bridges between our paradigm. We are preparing some data product to share it through the community. So we have to be aware about this. We cannot think about governance without preparing the interoperability part of our approach. So it's just a toolkit. So we have to use it if we want to build the governance. But yeah, I agree. We have to be more contrarian if we want to build something which will to work. But yeah,
Sorry, yeah. So what I was saying is that for now, maybe we should specify technical governance or governance of the technical data or whatever, because yeah, you are not yet considering the governing rules that will apply to the different actors, and governance without obligations sounds like a political campaign, you know. So it's yeah, you promise whatever, and then after that you do whatever you want. So.
yeah, I fully agree with you. This is the main reason why we decided to start with this introduction, just to keep in mind which kind of technical component we can use to instantiate the next discussion we will have through the governance part of LUMEN, through the other dimension, of course. So it is just a technical introduction. For me, it's okay to talk about technical governance, but it's more a toolkit we can use or not, but just to introduce it, because we are in a data mesh approach and we have to remind this because it's very important. It's a key point of the LUMEN project, and this just a technical introduction. And we can, of course, reuse some part of it with Graphia on the other project if it seems to be useful to do it. So I agree with your comment.
So thank you. You're speaking about data mesh. In Graphia, we speak more about data space. What are the main differences or similarities in your opinion?
Okay, it's a very interesting question, and you're right. There are some common points between data spaces and data mesh. In fact, the main common point between the two approaches is we are federated. We want to maintain some autonomies, but we want to connect everything in order to improve the interoperability between the existing entities and organization. This is the common point between data spaces and data mesh. But in the data mesh approach, what we want to use is a specific paradigm, which is the data products and the data contract. This is something different from the data spaces, because data spaces involves in the data spaces paradigm involve other concept to be able to connect some organization together. But in our data mesh approach, the idea is to use the data product and the data contract concept to share the resources between the communities themselves based on some model we are preparing with them. So it's just another approach, but these are common points, and that's why we can imagine some bridges between Graphia and LUMEN, because we are in the same approach. And to conclude about this question, it's also why when we are presenting this kind of approach through some EOS conferences, we get the attention of the partners during this kind of meeting, because it's exactly the trend through the EOS ecosystem. We are building federation, we want to connect nodes, we are building nodes, but we want to reinvent the wheel, and we want to build something on top of existing relevant tools or services which already exist. We don't want to build a new platform or centralize new things together. We want to build on a kind of a kind of network of existing organization. That's why it's another way to organize things through mesh, data product, data contract, a little bit technical, but this is the main difference we have with data spaces. But the idea behind is the same, exactly. With the node from the EOS ecosystem, we can do some parallels also.
Thanks a lot. We have some questions in Teams chat. If you can check, it's from Stan Eric Björling in regard to legalities. So it's unique to your questions that might change between research areas. Wizard templates, directory services functioning like ISO approaches, but in a more digitally structured form. And then continuation, also interaction with distributed ledger approach, freezing the legal section. So this one.
So what is the question exactly, Bien?
Just sharing that it could be a different approach in different kind of areas, I think, and also I think again also some frameworks like ISO.
Yeah.
So yeah, like better
Yes,
frameworks.
exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can extend this approach with other existing frameworks, and we have to do so just to be clear, to clarify the boundaries of the LUMEN project. And tomorrow we will discuss about interoperability. We will also dive into the details of this kind of frameworks, not only the LUMEN data mesh, but I fully agree with you. At the end, we want to be interoperable, not only between the communities, but beyond the LUMEN Federation. That's why an important part of the data mesh approach is it's also to identify the other ecosystem to be compatible and compliant with the rest of the world. So this is something important.
Thank you, Julien. I was wondering in terms of the user, in terms of autonomy and the ability of using a community-based approach, is the user going to be guided to inform their own community regulations? Will they be able to, adapt their use of the platform with their own regulations? Someone in the chat mentioned ISO. So, for example, molecular dynamics will have different regulations because the data could be clinically sensitive or etc. So, will it be transparent for the user to have that autonomy to update the governance when they use LUMEN? Yeah.
So thank you, Diane. Yeah, you're right. From the end user point of view, of course, at the end, they will use the discovery platforms for their own use cases, or maybe the meta search, something like this. So it will be a little bit hidden from them, all the organization behind. But of course, there are consequences for them because we will have some new features thanks to this federation, because we will share the same some resources, exactly what we are currently doing with GoTriple. We are trying to share this discovery platform with Earth system, but also with molecular dynamics. So this is new functionality for the end user. So okay, we will improve the end user experience, but of course we have to take into account the specificities of each community. That's why you have to think about the rules and how we can find a kind of agreement about the vocabularies, the format we want to share together, but to be flexible to maintain the specificities of each community. For example, for molecular dynamics, we need to be careful in terms of business model because we are opening some very sensitive data, and we have to think about how we can share this data in this kind of paradigm also, which is not really the case for the other communities. And also, sometimes we have, for example, with mathematics, they have already their own discovery platform, which is ZBMAT Open. So we cannot impose to them to reuse the GoTriple platform. Not at all. This is not the philosophy behind. So we have to think about it, how we can share with them some functionalities based on what we are currently sharing to improve also the end user experience, but with specific rules. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but of course we have other dimension to discuss about it, and this is the second part of this workshop, to think about how we can deal with this kind of specificity of each community to improve globally the experience. And it's a very interesting question also from a strategic point of view, how we can highlight this federation for the end user without to be too technical, exactly like this, to explain, okay, we are a federation and why it's a very nice idea for you. We have to think about it also. Any other question?
Now we have just comments in the chat, and it will be some stickers in our Miro map. But looks like these legal aspects, coming back to your question, Yannick, it's very important. So we need to have some, dedicated workshop on that indeed. Yeah, and I would probably comment on, this technical, non-technical parts of governance. We of course understand those layers, and that's why, Julien suggested presenting these layers, and we also tried to approach and draft something, initiate discussion of these layers while preparing deliverable on data mesh. So it was like our original discussion on that. But we have this data mesh framework as a part of the project, but we need to understand that real governance should be community driven. And that's why we are having this workshop as of now, just really sharing what we have already under the project, what kind of elements, what kind of building blocks, including technical building blocks, and how we can use it for our communities. And then it will be like the entire discussion after our short presentation. Okay, like hearing back from communities, what kind of governance do we need? What kind of aspect? How we see that? All those questions. Unfortunately, we don't have Suzanne here because she prepared some kind of questions about that, like what kind of governance you want to build. And this is really open stuff, and yeah, as of now. So this is like our first approach to this. We still have some time.
Yeah.
Okay. So then probably we will change again, and I will add also a couple of slides on with examples. Okay. So I will spend probably 5 minutes on examples of platform governance models. And actually, when we discussed, okay, what kind of examples we could share, we found like several natural sources for those examples because, within LUMEN project, we have our dedicated work package, and part of this work was to really put together quite detailed analysis on what's available. And we have Thomas here, work package lead, and under this, work package, I think we spent quite a lot of time, discussing this. But also, when we thought about like our hands-on experience, we already thought of one example, and you already know this example from our previous workshop. And of course, this is our Go Triple platform. So let me share my slides quickly. Okay, slideshow. So, talking about Go Triple, we already discussed that Go Triple is a discovery platform for social sciences and humanities. It's a multilingual platform with some features here, and also why it is important to share, because it is a platform built under project, and you see here a list of different teams and organizational elements, because we had general assembly, project coordination team, work package leaders team, technical board, advisory board, user community. So we had many elements within the project framework, but also we have already this experience after the project. And thanks, Fotis, for putting together the slides. And Fotis is lead of our Go Triple committee. You see, this structure, like managing all these different, really multiple elements and organizational bodies. So you see here project-specific meetings on the different projects. It's not one project. You see, we have some projects like Operos Plus, which already finished, and we have something which is still ongoing, like Atrium, and this Graphia Lumen projects we discuss here, and also some other project like FASCA and Grasloes. So really multiple projects contributing to development of the service. Also technical and service development we see is here, like technical coordination cross project, also Opera Services Task Force, and we have Sai here, and also myself. Yeah. Yeah. Could you please help me? I don't know. What should I do? I mean, I don't do anything, so what should I do? But okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And also we have some other elements related to strategic and organizational oversights, and you can see some Opera's bodies here, like Opera's STB, Communication Task Force, National Notes, really like very, very complex example. And if you have any questions about this, we have Fotis, we have Sai, you can ask, because this is our like daily life, and this is how we manage things. And anything. Okay, so like if you have any questions or comments on that, you still can put some stickers to Miro board, or ask questions in a Teams chat, and then we can come back to this, and then like quickly cover some examples and outcomes of analysis done within the Lumen work. You see here a list of different federation of platforms. You see like different ways of organization, and different models. And also, if we are talking about governance logic, we see that really different models can be used, because we see some ERIC models, association-based models, community or open source, or even commercial, like as a governed marketplace. So given that we have several communities within Lumen, and we see some other examples, I think it's very important for us to really explore more deeply this kind of existing approaches and existing practices. And also we can see some common factors, like data sovereignty stays with providers' nodes, multi-level governance with like different boards, working groups, nodes, and also federation ensures trust, interoperability, and sustainability. So again, we are like coming back here to legal and ethical aspects. So we should come back to these questions too. So this is like our original setup. And then our suggestion is really to move to discussion part. And probably I will share, I don't know, we have two documents here. One is just the Lumen governance document, and then our Miro board. Probably I will share our Miro board, and we will start to discuss that. And I see that we have some comments from Billy and also from Ravi. Okay, we'll get back to this, and then let me share quickly my Miro board, and we will continue discussion. And then Julien, I think we can do it together, because we can ask those questions and start open discussion. And for those who on site, please would like to hear, especially from community members. And for those who are online, please feel free to put your reflections in in a chat or also to Miro board. Okay, so let me share. Okay, for the discussion, we have three parts. First part, I will overview like everything, and then we will do it part by part. So first is about sharing understanding of governance. And this is really crucial because, as we already discussed, we can discuss different things. We can discuss data governance, we can discuss some organizational aspect, many things. So really, if we can put together different aspects of governance, I think it will be useful. Second part will be about community needs and experiences, what kind of motivation needs, what we have already, because I think in every community we have already this existing context and circumstances, so we'd like to share that. And as for next steps, okay, we prepared something. We prepared, we call it community checklist. This is a kind of homework. We will provide this document to all communities under this project, and we suggest starting a little bit working on that to hear back, and then we need to discuss on how we could work together, because it will be official task on that, and we will organize everything under the project. But given that governance is very complex matter, and we like all of us belong to different organization, it's very important to bring more context in addition to this project work and start discussing this earlier, because as we know from like previous discussion, we have this technical part, but we need to start discussing non-technical part. So let's start probably with part one. Sorry, I hear someone. I don't know who. No, nobody. Okay. So questions here. What does governance mean in the project and community context? What decisions do we expect to be made? What is the expertise required, and what commitments should we provide? So these are like first list of questions, and I suggest starting with number one. What does governance mean in the project and community context? And we have representatives of several communities, as I guess, because we have SSH, right? Who else we have? So if somebody would like to start, because we understand it's not that easy question, what governance means, but we already started with discussion that it could mean technical side, and it could mean commitment, because governance without commitment is not a governance. What else? Okay. So any suggestions, any comments on that? Okay, I'm checking the chat. Yeah, but I don't know, like probably we can start with SSH. I don't know, like Fotis, if you have any comments on what we already, on top of what we already presented with Go Triple, like from this standpoint, from Go Triple committee, what kind of governance aspects we can talk about, like what kind of elements we have there, because like, okay, we have technical, we have community, what else, like how we
Yeah, I don't know if especially with Go Triple being developed through the project, and that was the point of the slides, to demonstrate that during a project, it's very easy to have an oversight of how the service developed, but then you have the platform being involved in many different projects. So now the challenge is, how do you make decisions that balance the priorities and needs of the different projects, but at the same time, these are aligned with a bigger vision of the actual service, so it doesn't feel like disconnected. So when we have the Go Triple committee, we try to include, for example, a conversation about the vision of Go Triple and where we want it to go with the new developments around AI, for example, the beautiful tools. And then different people can bring different perspectives. Just to give you an example, myself and my colleague Carol are involved a lot in research assessment, and then we're trying to think, okay, how can this discussion inform some of the activities that we're having? And I mentioned funding, for example, because how do you make also decisions where to participate in projects in the future, and what are your priorities and needs in terms of development? So, and this can come from technical people, this can come from non-technical people. So the way you create, a balance of how to inform this kind of decisions is important. And I think what we've noticed is that Go Triple, for example, every 3 months we have this meeting. It's an excellent place to bring people from different activities, be it marketing, advertising, service marketing, or technical aspects from all the projects that you saw in the slides, like FASCA, Graphia, Lumen, and then we also try to think a bit like more strategic decisions, the directions of Go Triple. But then a lot of things happen in between in different projects, so we have to make sure that and that's how I see a little bit of a dynamic and fluid direction of governance when it comes to Go Triple. And we've seen the success, in terms of how it's been involved in different projects and how funding is keep coming in, and that means it guarantees the development of Go Triple. And I think it's important now, I think with Lumen at least, it's a little bit interesting to think about the needs of the different scientific domains. So how can you take this sort of perspective of the SSH, which is it's obvious, what kind of data we are interested in, what kind of information we want to add, but how does it translate in the white label platform, and how we align between the different scientific domains. This is, I think, the next step that we want to see. But that's my 2 cents, at least from my experience with engaging with Go Triple in the last 18 months or so.
Thanks a lot. And maybe we can continue a little bit with this as we are talking like technical, non-technical. I would ask Sai, to continue.
Yeah, so just to kind of pick up on that, which is, I think a key document is a terms of reference, because I think the clarity in terms of who is participating, what is the expected responsibilities, what's the decision-making process. So I think that also kind of what underpins a lot of these like multi-organizational groups, and kind of what makes them function is because the operation of it is clear. And I can just give one other anecdote. So there's another service that we have on with inside of Operas that we're looking to kind of broaden out participation from the community into making decisions about what's the future decisions and what's the vision, how's things getting funded. And guess what? We're starting from the terms of reference using Go Triple Committee as the first initial inspiration for it. And when you had a couple different organizations that were a little bit skeptical in terms of how are decisions being made, once we proposed the terms of reference that we were using in another similar collaboration, everybody was like super happy. They all like calmed down and started looking at and said, so we get to participate in the definition of how it's going to work and how the decisions are going to be made. Then it just became like, it just raised the spirit of collaboration. So the result of that document is basically everybody being on the same page with how things are moving forward. And then you operate the body as such. So I think I think the terms of reference document is actually way more important than maybe what we give it credit for. And I've seen this in practice multiple times.
I have also like related question to this because what decisions do we expect to be made, and what is the expertise required? Because if we are talking about terms of reference as a key document, okay, what kind of partners, what kind of uh, expertise aspects we need to put together to make it fully functional?
One of everything, basically, because you're gonna have so it's gonna already be a diverse set of stakeholders just by design, because everybody's gonna be participating within, let's say, their own interest. So you may have some service providers, you may have some technology providers, and then you may have some, domain specific expertise. But then you're gonna have to have somebody who can manage the different pieces that's going in there. So somebody who can facilitate the decision-making process. So sometimes it's easier because there's a clear, let's say, person or coordinate or some partner that has been um say identified as being able to coordinate the piece, and then everybody recognizes the chair or somebody who has to make the final decisions. But um yeah, you're gonna get individuals from each one of these roles. So some type of coordination or manager, some type of domain specific expertise, or somebody who has topical related expertise, and then you're gonna have technical people involved who want to bring their specific thing to the table. So
Thanks a lot, and maybe I would like to hear from other communities. And Julian, could you please help me, like whom we can ask, because I cannot see like whom do we have here? Okay, like I can read the what Carol put here. In addition to what Foti said about Go Triple, another important goal is to avoid duplication. Yeah, this is for sure. It's super important. We have diverse parallel efforts, so we need to coordinate the results of individual projects instead of redoing the work. Yeah, this is like Carol. Thanks. This is super important.
Maybe I don't know. We have Mathieu from Molecular Dynamics online. I don't know if you are available to share your thought about this.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Thanks a lot, Mathieu. Maybe you have something to share about your community for this specific governance part.
Uh, I think it's maybe a bit always a bit complete, a bit abstract for me. All the governance point of view. I put a post-it somewhere. I think what is also important for my community is to be supported in a way, because the governance makes some rules, but it's also to be, I would say, involved and on board a lot of people from my community. They will need some guidance and help. So I don't know if it can be something that we discussed, or if it's related to governance or not.
Okay, and then I would have a question: what kind of decisions we expect to be made? For example, okay, we have some understanding of community needs, but then what should we do is that, like, do you have like at least your first approach, or I don't know, like probably the current practices? Because okay, we shared what we have with Go Triple. This is like daily thing, but do you have some examples in kind of decision making, or again about expertise required? Because yeah, like molecular dynamics, but do you need any like other, like what kind of other expertise is important in this field, in this community? Matthew?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what I can say here. In terms of expertise, maybe especially for the other communities and to go triple is the way of how we can link what we are doing in a more broader context, and especially linking this to bibliography goes through the data, help us to find better ways to do this type of analysis. May be useful. We don't have at all, I would say, this expertise, and in a way, from the Lumen point of view, sharing this platform may help us to find new ways of analyzing our system, or finding new interesting results from other field to be used in ours. So that's what I hope. But that's mean maybe in terms of governance also, how we share this information, and maybe there is some standardization to define, which we don't have, by the way, not really in MD simulation, because we are quite scattered and we have different, I would say, programs or whatever that different research lab can use. So everybody has its own solution. So all this standardization may be also useful. I don't know if it's answer your question.
Yeah. It's very valuable. Thanks a lot. And I would appreciate if you also add a couple of stickers on Miro map about that, because we'd like to collect them all. So thanks a lot for your perspective, because it will add to what we already shared on like our field, which is SSH. And now I will read probably some stickers here from the map on what governance is. So governance is participation in the definition of roles in a distributed context. And this is true because if we see real like community-based approach, when community comes for technologies really to serve their managerial needs, it's like the most common case. Then we can come not from technological side, okay, with a toolbox, but with real needs, okay, we'd like to govern our community, what kind of roles, what kind of rules, and then on top of that we have a technological layer. Okay, governance, what rules, policies to guide communities? Yes. Okay, governance is to define the internal scope of the project, decision made for extending services, maintenance, and sustainability, including legal aspects as well. This good one, yes. Governance provides the global framework under which the collaboration is implemented. Tool towards sustainability. Clear rules to so domains know their responsibilities without central bottlenecks. Also good ones. Guidelines and standardizations to help cross research between communities. Yeah, it's even not like one community, but cross community, also very valuable. Commitments, be available for periodic governance meetings or review. Yeah, because otherwise we have the tool, but we don't have commitments, what Yannick already mentioned. Okay, need to provide technical support to follow governance rules. Indeed, it's like an enabler. Having regulatory framework in place to which participating communities have committed. Access workflow for the potential new community. Okay, so we have quite a lot here already. So then probably I suggest that we can move forward, right? So please add something if you still have some ideas. Please add them to the map, because we will continue working on that. Next we can discuss community needs and experience, but I guess we discussed it already a little bit, at least for SSH and molecular dynamic, and it will be also part of our checklist. So I think we can move to checklist. But if you just probably would be my request really to put some stickers on motivational side, because I could start this discussion by saying that probably some communities have like cultural aspects of how things are being governed, because in our organization we started to discuss sociocratic approach, And this is very horizontal, very distributed way of doing things. And we also have Opera's coordination team as our main structure. And this is to me very cultural thing. And then if we can see, well, it is an example, and it is motivation for people to explore, I would say, managerial approach. It also could be driven by cultural foundation to this. And I would it was probably like first time when I met this kind of horizontal approach, because in technological company it's a little bit different. It's also horizontal, but a little bit different, because it's like gathering together to deliver something. But here it's a little bit different, like how to say, motivational part. So if you'd like to add something or to talk something about motivation, like why communities could be motivated to drive initiatives like that. So I can read now what we have here, and if you have some ideas that you'd like to share or to talk, just please raise your hand. And while I'm reading, give practical new solutions to help communities researchers. Also, as an example, Go Triple Committee Opera Services and Technology Board, onboarding the good stakeholders, early adopters. Yeah, it's a motivation for community circulation of information, keeping their platforms up to date by learning from each other. The open approach can be a motivation, open sources, open methods. Motivation keep SSH data under researcher community control, not just tech teams. Shared interests, but pay attention to competition within it. Okay, so we have again a lot of things. So I think we can continue because we have like 13 minutes left. If you still have some ideas, please put them, because we will use it for sure. Okay, so next thing about improving together our draft checklist and thinking about next steps. So let me share this checklist with you. It exists also as a separate file, and if you go to the Lumen governance document, there is a link to this file. And this is what we provide after the workshop to communities. But we did our homework and we tried to put together at least, directional questions. So I would like to bring it now to you and hear back from you if you have any ideas how to improve that, or how probably criticize that, saying like we shouldn't, ask that, but we should ask something instead. Again, you can use stickers to comment, but let me quickly, go through this document. So we are starting with the purpose, because we believe this is our first orientation on governance. So to see where each organization stands, what drives them, and what kind of what they can realistically commit. So it's both like from intention and also commitment layer. So first is about description of current practices. Who is your organization usually makes decision on rules, access, and partnerships? What challenges have you faced when trying to align with external partners and or initiatives? Motivation and needs. Why would it matter for your organization to take part in a shared governance model? And then this is, the main question, because we have like 4 separate communities. And do we need like one platform, let's say one entity, or it should be 4 different, only, connected in technological interoperable, oh, interoperable level? Yeah, so we can have at least these kind of decisions, like how we feel it should be for our community, like standalone or shared. So these kind of questions. What challenges? No, no. Okay. Yeah. What benefits do you expect? Visibility, influence, sustainability, funding, risk sharing. What would make participation worth your investment of staff and time? And this is important because it is commitment, and it is commitment for now, and for sure it will be commitment in future. Because as soon as things are built, then we have our favorite question of sustainability, and then it's on community. So it's really a fundamental question, like what drives us there. Yeah. Okay, next direction is what you bring. What concrete resources or strength could your organization contribute, like data, services, infrastructure, expertise, networks? In which areas could you take responsibility? And we are talking about leading a process, sustaining a component, like could be different, angles of that. What do you expect to return for bringing these resources? Visibility, influence, finding access. And the final, like from our side, looking ahead, do you prefer global governance model or one frame across platforms or separate models with only technical links? What are the main risks and opportunities of each option for your organization? So that's four that we managed to create, and we like as usual, you are more than welcome to bring some additional considerations for the comments or aspects, anything. And I see some stickers here. Not sure that all communities have a centralized body, CNRS take decision with own governance for own labs. This is a question mark. Okay, so this is really important, and I think we can still open this Miro board for at least couple of weeks to collect feedback, and then we will discuss it internally, and then we will distribute this form to community. And I think like these are like main topics we wanted to discuss, and if you have something to add, I think now it is the right time to do so. And I remember that Suzanne asked us some question, and I didn't edit. So yeah, let me check. I think it was something about commitment, like how to commit. We will check it. Mm. So any questions or comments or yeah.
Hi, Elena. Sorry, everyone, for being late. Yeah, the question I asked was about the process for legal signature. Maybe this is the type of things we can add in the document, but that's
On we will add it to the list. Yeah, we will add it to the list, and here, I mean, to the list we already prepared. And then maybe given that we have several minutes remain, Suzanne, could you please then probably like raise your questions if you'd like to.
I can, but I was not there during the workshop. Maybe you addressed them already, so I'm not sure. But no, the question I had actually was more about the process for establishing the governance and the business model. Because we know that it takes a lot of time to make sure we have something sustainable before the end of the project. About the question of the federation, do we want something? But I guess you already addressed that. Okay. And considering the different types of organization that we have, some are more quick. This is what I was saying about the process for legal signature. Some are quicker to sign, and some can be very long. And here I have in mind my own organization, CNRS, where we need to think about the process quite a year in advance. So it's not something to be planned at the latest moment. So yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, thanks a lot. And I just at the moment I feel like completed because we really we delivered what we already planned to deliver. Then you added like your part, so we are like 100% done. So like really like feel accomplished in this sense. So then about the next steps, we will analyze all outcomes we managed to collect. And then we will share this document, updated version of this, and we will slowly start, this process of engagement and further communication. So today's objective was really to start sharing these things, to discuss these things, and hear back from community. That was like our fundamental objective, and I guess that we managed to accomplish that. And also, we shared all materials. Like from today, and we will open a link to Julien presentation as well. So you have this Miro board, you have also this LUMEN governance shared document with all presentations. So still, if you have any questions, you always can come back to us. And then I give a floor to Julien also probably for some wrapping up remarks. And then
Yes, so also if you have some question about the data mesh framework, the governance part, everything related to the discussions we have shared today, feel free to ask us directly. And I'm available during the 3 days to deep into the details with you. So thanks a lot for your attention. Yes, Sai?
It was more a question for you, Julien, to be honest, which was how much of the feedback that was provided here also pertains to, let's say, the technical aspects of the data mesh. Are they kind of common to both, from like the human governance to the technical side of things, or was a lot of the feedback more from like the committee and the body and stuff like that versus the governance over the data that you were talking about? What's your feeling with regards to the feedback?
Yeah, I think it's an important question because yes, we have started to share with you some technical component of the governance layer. So it could be interesting to dip into the details of this part. But I guess we have before to discuss about the other dimensions we have to address because we have to be concrete in terms of organization, how we want to organize everything before to share more details about it. So that's why it was important to share the technical details about how we can, what an example of how we can build this data mesh together from some technical aspect. That's why it's very, and thanks for the different feedback about it. And it's very interesting to discuss and to share how we can make it concrete. But I guess before we have to discuss with the organizations to identify the constraint, the strategy, the directions, before to be a little bit more concrete. So now the message here, okay, we have a toolbox to do it. We have already some other foundation based on Lumen. We can share this with the other project, for example, with Graphia, some ideas. But for me, now it is the time to discuss about the other dimension before to go back to the technical aspect, which are available now. We know it. And then we have some, it was just for inspiration, but now we have to deal with the constraints of the institution. It's my point of view. But yeah, I don't know if you agree, but this is my answer.
yeah, but things are going to be interesting because we have kind of different approaches already, even in this space for commands at the Miro board. Like, not sure that all communities have centralized bodies. Then global pro consistency while avoiding duplication. Cons risk being too rigid, slow for changes decision making. Domain specific pro gives domain level governance, higher autonomy, quicker decision. Cons, too many models, interoperability suffers. So we have like pros and cons. So I think it's just an opening of the long entire discussion, but it's really nice that we had a chance to do so. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.